Name Masana. Sound. Okay. First material.
Ramesh sir, it's already 5:30.
Good evening to one and all. Greetings from Sri Venkateshwara College, Andhra Pradesh. I'm Nagamani from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering. We express our gratitude to you for showing the interest and taking part in 1 week faculty development program on outcome-based education. We are glad as we have the participants from 5 states and around 29 colleges faculty has been registered for this program. Coming to our college, Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering was established by NIRIs under the aegis of Sri Venkateshwara Educational Society in 2011. The objective is to provide on par to provide the engineering and technical education to the rural and underprivileged lot on par with creamy layer of the society. The motto of the institution is quality education, discipline, and employment. SVCN is approved by AICTE New Delhi and affiliated to JNTUA Anantapuram. Getting certified with ISO 9001-2015 is a feather in the cap of SVCN in the year of 2020. The institution received appreciation from many organizations for the initiatives taken on social service, tree plantation, creating awareness on protecting the environment, etc. This FDP emphasizes on various aspects of teaching effectiveness to be explored within the changing dynamics of educational environment. The objective of this faculty development program is to nurture the philosophy of outcome-based education and build the capacity of the young faculty members, head of the departments, principals of the institutions, so as to facilitate its institutionalization in the teaching learning system and other academic process of the institution. Development and implementation of good academic processes is institutionalized in an institutionalized manner by involving not only teachers but also students, and the continuous improvement is paramount in reassuring the quality of the outcome of any of the programs of the institution. This FTP will fine-tune the academic processes and can drastically improvise the quality of the outcome, which will not only seamlessly facilitate the institution in getting the accreditations such as NAC and NBA, but will also develop confidence among the stakeholders in a sustainable manner. We are very much delighted to conduct this 1 week FTP and expect your cooperation throughout the program. Now, I request our chairman, sir, Dr. Penibali Babu Naidu Garu, to address the participants of the program.
Good evening, all. Our becoming more prominent to all the teachers. In the current education system, focusing on results, OBE generates expectation of top results. So, requesting all the participants to utilize this wonderful opportunity. Thanking you and all the best.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request our Director of Administration, Krishna Chaitanya Garu, to address the participants of the program.
A very good evening to one and all who have joined this session. I would like to thank Pawan sir for taking this his valuable time to conduct this session. So it's wonderful that I see a lot of participants have joined the session across Pan India. We are here to discuss on outcome-based education. So this outcome-based education is not just that we are introducing in engineering colleges, but being the correspondent of a school, we have already started this outcome-based education in school level itself. So which we call it as a holistic development. So in this 21st century, it's very important for all the students from KG to PG, all the students to learn things by doing. So this will enable them to develop skills that are required in this global world to compete with this global world. So outcome-based education is very essential to cope up with the industry requirements. Knowledge that you have gained in your education practically. So I request all the teachers, all the faculty to take this opportunity to learn the importance of how it's going to help the future of India, the students, the student-centric teaching process, the learning methodology, how it's going to give the clarity for the students, the exposure, the involvement, the decision making. All this comes out of outcome-based education. And I hope this session will definitely bring a learning outcome for all the faculty of Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering, with the support of Pawan sir, our head of the institution, Kumar Babu sir, and our academic advisor, Ramesh sir, collaboration, coordination, and guidance. And I take this opportunity, wonderful opportunity for all the faculty to make sure you take time, your valuable time to join these sessions on a regular basis and take a note and make use of this opportunity. And eventually the process that you're going to learn today is going to help the students for the bright future, and for the development of the organization, and for your personal development. It will be definitely useful. And I once again thank you for giving me this opportunity to have few ideas, exchange my ideas on this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our principal, sir, Dr. Kumar Babu, sir, to address the participants of the program.
So good evening to all. Am I audible? Hello? Ma'am, hello?
Yes, sir.
I am Dr. Kumar Babu, principal of the esteemed Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering. I thank our management, Chairman Garu and Director Mr.Naga Garu, for supporting all such activities. As an academician from past 25 years, I have been in this education field. But thing is, every 5 years, the system is changing. Now, the skill-based education has come into the picture, the outcome-based. So this particular thing for faculty has to assimilate and then give it to the students. So as a part of developing the faculty in this particular area of outcome-based education, so through our advisor, Mr. P.V. Ramesh Garu, we are very honored to invite Mr. YVR Nagapawan Garu, who is an associate professor of Anurag Engineering College. It's nice to have a resource person who is well versed in the outcome-based education. So people talk about it much, but the assessment attainment of the student in different courses based on his course outcomes, based on his course attainments is an important aspect, because we try to give him whatever the syllabus and subject he wants, but whatever he takes inside is has to be assessed. So this particular assessment, course attainment and course files, all these things are being maintained. We have a group of students and we can identify the level of attainment. So I am happy that all my 60 to 70, 65 faculty who are available here, and also the other 50 faculty from outside also are reaching this program. Now this is an examination time, so the academics have come to a halt. So this 1 week, we all faculty, including myself, am eager to see this program, because I have times, but every time the revisions are going on. It is to be in the competition, we have to direct and divert ourselves. So I welcome Mr. Nagapawan Garu, who is the resource person for all these days, and I also expect my faculty to take every day 1 hour or 1.5 hours and see that we'll say, because it is useful for the faculty, it is useful for the institution, and it is useful for the society, because student is a society. When student goes to society, he will be useful to society. As a faculty, if we take this course, it will be useful for us to make the other students learn. So faculty are being given this opportunity through the management, and all PV Ramesh Garu is the key person in all these things. As an academic administrator, managing the academics and administration. So I personally thank PV Ramesh Garu for being with us, and also Pawan Kumar Garu, Mr. Naga Pawan also coming towards us. So wish you all, the faculty, to have a nice course. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll make use of this. Now, our IQAC coordinator, Mrs. Tejashwi ma'am, will explain the day-wise schedule of this online FDP.
Good evening, one and all. So on behalf of SVCN, and I'm presenting this day-wise schedule of our FDP on outcome-based education. So from this date today, that is Thursday, we are concentrating on framework and components of T7-2021, that is Friday outcome. And on PEOs, PSOs, POCO mapping, having attainment of outcomes, and on Tuesday, this continuation of previous session, that is attainment of outcomes. So we can raise the doubts in this session practically. And on Wednesday, we will go for NB accreditation process, so which is more important for accreditation. So this is a very good opportunity to one and all. So we are having, actually, we are very great. Hopefully, we are feeling very proud that around 265 participants are from different 30 colleges. That is about 6 districts. So we are all heartily welcoming. You will utilize this opportunity very well. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I request Mrs. Vidya ma'am to give a brief about today's speaker.
Good evening to all. I am Vidya, assistant professor in the Department of EC. It's a great honor and privilege to introduce Mr. Naga Pawan sir, our resource person for 1 week faculty development program on outcome-based education. Coming to his education qualification, he did his MTech from Apatla Engineering College, PG Diploma in Total Quality Management, NILEM, Chennai. He is pursuing his PhD in KL University. At present, he is working as an associate professor in the Department of Computer Science Engineering at Anurag Engineering College, Telangana State. He is a computer science and information technology professional with 18 years of experience in training management, and design and implementation of quality measure in teaching learning process. He had a great experience of training students by using the interactive methods and hands-on approach to help the students learn and apply concept in courses. He handled projects related to software development, management, information system, training and development, accreditation process. He conducted and attended many workshops and conferences. He conducted NAC workshop organized by SSN PG College, Ongul. He authored 6 publications in international journals, 2 book chapters, and presented 4 papers in international conference. He also the members in many professional bodies, such as member in IAENG, CSTA, ISTE. He had many such great achievements throughout his career. It's my great privilege to introduce you, sir. Now I am requesting Mr. Naga Pawan, sir, to start the today's session.
Thank you, madam, for giving me an opportunity. So I thank the management, the chairman, sir, and director, sir, principal, sir, academic advisor, sir, IQSC coordinator, and the Teja ma'am, and everyone who invited me for this particular program. It's a great opportunity for me to get associated for 1 week with you regarding this outcome-based education. And the idea of this particular outcome-based education is mostly with respect to make the students to be achieved and to make their career globally be available. So earlier we used to see that in our college, when I used to speak the students, I used to say, as we live in Kodad, I used to ask the students, are you want to become a Kodad engineer or a global engineer? So majority of the students say that, sir, we want to become a global engineer rather than a local engineer. So if you want to have the global perspective to sustain, so the only opportunity that we have for our students to work is the outcome-based education. So from this particular perspective, and to proceed further, and today the major focus is with respect to the terminology and the framework. And once we got acquaintance with this, and we start working with the rest of things from the next session onwards. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Please allow me. Hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir, visible, sir.
Hope the audio is very clear to everyone. So starting with the outcome-based education. So before that, most of the faculty members and already aware of it, but still, so as a part of a tradition, we should learn why we need to get into this outcome-based education. Normally, the people will feel that the outcome-based education is a quagmire. So it is not at all a quagmire, actually. It is a facilitator for making our students to be globally represent themselves in the arena. So here earlier we used to have the NBA itself, National Board of Accreditation. Earlier it used to evaluate the programs in the institution in the perspective of an input-output based evaluation. So the inputs are mostly how many students are joined in the institution, what is the quality of the rank the students got, how the education is being imparted, and the next how many marks they got. Like this year, the things are going to be presented like this, and how many placements you got. Like this is the only curriculum, that means input and output, that's it. So the quantification is not properly been available. So the quantification is also very clumsily it is defined. So this quantification is not going to show anything. And most of the time, the majority of the institutions thought that, so when it is an outcome input output based education, then they used to focus much more on the infrastructure. They used to focus much more on beautification. So it is anyhow, it is required as an infrastructure. But at the same time, so what the student is learning, so that is what missing here. So to make the focus on the student, we want to have the outcome-based education to be adopted in the engineering education, because so engineering is such a profession where the people can make the changes in the world. They can bring changes in the world. And at the same time, it is not only confined only to themselves, but also in their respective lives. So from this particular perspective, having a great advantage here, let us go with the outcome-based education. And so it is, when we talk about outcome-based education, obviously it is also with accreditation. So when you talk about accreditation is a process of quality assurance. At the same time, the idea is to make an improvement with any available institution. So normally in India, every institution has to be get approved to start itself. And then next, it has to offer certain programs, and the programs needs to maintain certain standards. At the same time, it has to be the standards maintenance should excel themselves. So that assessment that comes under the accreditation, and it's a kind of recognition it is providing to the programs of the required standard. So normally when you talk about the approval process of an AICTE, so when you talk about AICTE, every institution maintain minimum standards, and the institution which maintains standards is given with an approval to start the program, so that the institutions are taking affiliation from the respective universities and they're starting the programs, and they're taking the admissions and they're imparting education. Excellent. But the thing is here, to what extent the standards are being excelled. So for that purpose, the accreditation is the process which is going to benchmark the quality. So that's the reason why here accreditation comes into picture in a wide spectrum. So the next, what is the accreditation purpose? So most of the people think that the accreditation purpose is such a thing where it is going at the same time. When you talk about accreditation, majority of the institutions, when we started our career, so I started when a career in Babatla Engineering College, very first time when that college started its accreditation process. I was associated with the Department of Computer Science, and we used to work with other departments also. The thing is here, majority of the faculty members in other institutions at that time, they feel that, so why you are going with accreditation? Is it going to help you? This is like the questions we used to get when you are working as a team. So definitely, the thing is here, the accreditation process is not to find the faults. It is about presenting ourselves and how the benchmarks are being raised and how we are presenting ourselves to the society, so that we want to make our beneficiaries being highly benefited. So that is a basic idea of it. So it is not to find the faults with the institution, and it is not to degenerate the working style of the institution. So it is not at all the case. Here the thing is here, we want to make the institution and its programs to be given the best outside, so the students can gain benefit of it. And it is not to demarcate the boundaries of quality, but to offer the sensitization process of continuous improvement. Sometimes the people will ask, sir, you're keeping the benchmarking very low. If you go to the Hyderabad institutions used to have very high. If you go to Mumbai, the institutes, we are creating the benchmarking based upon our standards, and we are going to improve our standards slowly by redefining them. So it's a continuous improvement process. We are not going to uphold them instantly. No, not at all. It's a continuous process, and we want to persist. The idea is we want to persist ourselves in the society by providing quality technical education in the nearby vicinity. So that's the basic idea how the management has started education institutions in the respective areas. So we have to protect that particular interest. And the next, it is not to select only the institutions of national excellence. It is not at all. So, but to provide the benchmarks of excellence, identification of good practices. So that is the basic thing that we want to have. So from this particular perspective, what to say is, it is not to make ourselves to find the faults. It is not to degenerate the working style, or to not to demarcate the boundaries, and not only the specific institutions. So everybody have the opportunity. The next, when it comes for the accreditation policy, so there is a little bit majority of the nowadays, earlier we don't have that kind of idea understanding, but today majority of the institutions and the faculty in those institutions are aware of it. But still, as a part of the learning method, let us have this one also be discussed. So when you talk about NBA accreditation, so NBA National Board of Accreditation will accredit only the programs which are eligible in the institution. So it has certain criteria. The program which satisfies the criteria, only those programs are going to be accredited by the National Board of Accreditation. So, and at the same time, it is not an accreditation for the entire institution. So it is only accredited the programs that are being offered, that to the eligible programs that are being offered. Then next, when it comes to the NAC is having a different scenario where the accreditation is given to the institution. So it is going to see a holistic approach of the entire institution and the process. But here in NBA, the program, the student who is taking a program will be given the high priority. When it comes to the NAC, the holistically it is going to be evaluated. But end of the day, the OBE is the one which is going to play the role in the accreditation policy. What the accreditation outcome education. Baran et al., Mansoor et al., they have given their definitions in their respective papers published in 2006 and 2008. They mentioned that outcome-based education is education focus on graduate attributes or outcomes of completing an academic program. So this is the basic idea of it. So we want to make the students to attain certain, and they have to showcase certain outcomes. And when they showcase the outcome, not only it is going to have a greater advantage for the program that is being delivered in our. And Tucker, he's also mentioned, it is a process that involves restructuring the curriculum. So it is not going to stop with that. We want to involve restructuring of curriculum, assessment, reporting practices in education to reflect, achieve high order learning and mastery rather than evaluation of the course. So you want to master this process. So Normally earlier we used to have the student to see that whether the student is cleared the subject. Okay, once the student is cleared the subject, automatically they will have credits been automatically awarded to the student. So once the student of credits have been, then automatically student is eligible for getting a graduation. So he will get graduated for that, and university is going to provide a degree for that. So this is the way how the things are going to be. Now here, that will anyhow happen, but at the same time, we want to see the student to have the higher order learning. So they should be in a position to do something to the institution by learning every time. So that is a basic idea of this outcome-based education. Now, so in what are the things that we need to focus? Need to learn. So we have a program, and once we have a program, definitely we have very good established laboratories, classrooms, and we have the staff rooms, and we have enough equipment to execute the various experiments. And at the same time, we'll have the curriculum. The curriculum is also going to be provided. So whenever we talk about this particular curriculum, so who is going to provide the curriculum? So there are two different institutions normally we encounter in this particular scenario. So some institutions, the majority of the institutions in India, majority of the institutions are being affiliated to any university. So it may be in technical university or some kind of university. So the university is going to provide the curriculum, and that curriculum is imparted to the students following certain norms. But when it comes to the institutions, the government of India provides a model curriculum and follow the model curriculum, and based upon model curriculum, they're going to design their standards on availability of the students in the nearby vicinity, how the students are joining in the institution and their background and their education levels, the academic, and considering all these things, what the student has to, once they learn, are they in a position to demonstrate their professionalism in the global world, in the global arena? So that's another one. So what kind of skill they have to show? So that need to be identified, and that need to be, and the next step is once we identify, we need to measure it. So accordingly, the designing both curriculum and delivery mechanisms. So we need to see that the skills and the competencies are being erased in that. So if once we have all these things, then only we can say that the outcome-based education has its own flourishment. Otherwise, it is not possible just giving a curriculum and making the students to do some work and assessing something. No, not at all. So they should be in a position to demonstrate in the professional. That's a very important thing. Making them to learn as well as demonstrating in the professional world are equally important. And to do this, what kind of things that you are following? So what kind of curriculum that has been, how the delivery mechanism is happening, how we are going to evaluate them, how we are going to assess them, so that a student has achieved certain levels. So from this particular side, let us have a broad spectrum of this. So when you talk about the outcome, definitely will have to be able to, okay, if the student wants to be able to do something, he or she gets certain attributes. If the students can attain certain attributes, then automatically, yes, the students has a how these attributes are to be aimed by the student. So how to make certain curriculum to be made available so that the students can learn the curriculum and those attributes. So that once the attribute, if you take a attribute needs, for example, if you take the students has a capability of design some problem, solving some problem. So if you want to make a student to solve the problem, so the problem comes in different perspectives. When you talk this particular one, our students are in a position to make the problem solving be available in the ample time that is available with them on the professional end, because in the professional they're working on the work, working on the workspace, they don't have that much of time. That is really problem is very complex. Solution available. So that means here they have to showcase this what have acquired in the institution and what the experience what they gain, that needs to have the outcome be achieved. Should be in a position to have some kind of evaluation mechanism to be established so that the student has the capability in showcasing that particular outcome. So once the outcome is been available with the attribute, we can say yes, the student has the capability to showcase. Now here, how can you make the students? So it's not a simple thing. We have to establish a delivery mechanism to see a student in the class should be able to showcase their skills. They have to gain their attributes and they should be in a position to achieve the outcomes that are being defined. So once, if you want to say the student is achieved the outcome or not, then what we need is we should be in a position to measure it. The measurement is equally important. So the teaching learning process will help you in delivering, disseminating the classes to the students and different delivery methods that we use. And nowadays we're having many different delivery methods and ICT methods are also available with us. But at the end of the day, are the students able to get are the students be measured from the perspective of what we're looking for? So that is a basic thing that we need to see. And the next comes is the assessment. So the teaching has been done and now we want to go with the assessment. So when you talk about the assessment, we have an approach. We need to follow an approach to evaluate the outcomes. And when you talk about outcomes in our OBE, there are different levels of outcomes that we have, and level by level we have to measure the outcomes, and that should be contributing to the next level, higher level, so that finally you see whether the student appropriate attributes are being achieved or not. Now, so when you talk about the attributes, Abbott, so the Abbott has given certain graduate attributes here. So focusing on the engineering knowledge, and the second one is the problem analysis skills, and the next one, the design or the development of the solutions to the problems, and the investigation mechanism for the problems. And the next, the usage of modern tools, that's also equally important rather than getting stuck with the traditional methods as they are the time consuming. And the next, the environment, the engineer and the society. So they have to follow some ethical, the engineering profession has to be given with the societal requirements. And they have to focus on the environment as well as the sustainability and following ethical values. And the next comes now, it comes the personal perspective of the graduate engineer, how they are able to work individually as well as along with a team. So when working with the teams, and the next, the communication skills within this team, and so that he can individually sustain for longer period. And the next, the project management with us, because so once we have the any kind of problem that we need to take up for any company, so we should be in a position to have proper project management and finance mechanisms, and to sustain or to make ourselves persistent in the professional society. So it is we have to get committed for the lifelong learning. So the graduate has to get committed for the lifelong learning. So if they have been committed, if that kind of mechanism has been adopted, we can say the graduate attributes are being properly devised. So now these attributes are going to be used in our mechanism. So it's a simple OBE model that we have here today. That is first, when you want to start with the OBE outcome-based education to be started with the institution, first of all, we should have the vision. So in the subsequent sessions, we'll see how to define the vision, how to define the mission, and how the POs, and we all work in the subsequent sessions. Today, just we focus on the framework. The first one is the vision of the institute. And the vision of the institute is the key because the management has established an institution with certain perspective, and it has its own advantages as well as the challenges. Normally, we identify them with the help of the SWOT analysis. And based upon the SWOT analysis, the vision statement is being prepared. And to make our vision to be realized, we would like to have a proper mission to be defined. So a systematic mission will make us to have the vision be realized in the community. Normally, when you talk about a vision, so we are going to make the vision to be properly realized. The proper mission statement has to be incorporated. And these mission statements will definitely, with the help of a strategic plan, we are going to make our vision to be realized. And once the vision is being realized, then we are going to redefine them. So this is a continuous process, and we'll go for some higher level, and we want to make our mission statement once again redefined. Like this, this process will go on. Now, with the help of the vision and mission of the institute, now we are going to define the mission and vision of the department. Now, the department mission and vision is being defined. So if you talk about civil engineering department, so what is the purpose of establishing a civil engineering department and institution? So what is the prime motto of it? How it has to be sustained in the coming years? So what is the primary goal of it? So like this here, we are going to question ourselves, and we are going to establish a certain vision. And the next, with the help of the vision statements, we are going to talk about how we can make the vision be realized. So for the department, similar to the institution, now we go with in the department level also. Now the mission statements for the department level have also been given. Now, in a department, there will be normally in most of the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, we used to have each department associated with only one program. But nowadays we are having some UG program and PG programs. In some cases, each department is offering more than one program. So here, once the department mission and vision has been clearly defined, now we go with the PEOs. So it's a kind of outcomes which we are going to talk about. Now here, these are the program educational objectives. So these are majorly focusing on PEOs, the first term that we're introducing here, that is the PEO, program educational objectives. The idea of this particular program educational objectives is how we want to make our graduates to render their services in the global arena. So how the stakeholders are going to give their feedback about this particular program that is being learned by our students. So that means here, majority of the cases, this is a feedback based. We are going to collect the feedbacks, and we are going to check whether the students are able to deliver their best in the professional front. So where the POs are not directly been available here, so we want to make the other levels of outcomes also be included here, and that comes are the POs, program objectives, and we used to have the program specific objectives and the course objectives also be considered here. So we are going to define all these outcomes, program outcomes and program specific outcomes and the course outcomes. And once all these outcomes are defined, now we start assessing them, how the COs are being attained and how have they reached the enough level or not. And the next, we go with once the assessment is been done, now we have the results. So with the various COs and POs and PSOs that are being computed, now we are going to analyze them. So in the analysis, we are going to say whether all the COs, POs, PSOs have been attained the enough levels. Once they have attained the enough levels, then definitely there is a possibility for us to refine them for improvement. And sometimes what happens is certain COs are not going to contribute what we are expecting. So in that case, there may be a down. The attainments are a little bit lower to the benchmarks that we have been set. So now we have to identify and we have to take proper action mechanism for it. And we have to see that a proper implementation mechanism and a strategy plan to be defined to see that all those lapses been addressed, and see that in the subsequent academic years, let us see that the proper attainment of the respective COs and POs and the respective PSOs to be done. And then next, once we have that, we have the realize the improvements. And once the realization of improvements are being completed, we feel that so there is a need for once again the redefining the benchmarking. So once again the benchmarking starts from, if you want to start with the department vision, we can start, or we can change the benchmarks that are being set. If the benchmarks that we set initially are lower, we can improve the benchmarks and we can go with the final level of assessment, and this process is continued. So this is the mechanism normally we follow for OBE model. So now what exactly this, excuse me, what exactly this program education objective means, shortly called as PO. So these are the very broad statements, and they describe the career and the professional achievements what the graduate has to showcase once they have been graduated in the respective program. And normally in the first 4 to 5 years after the graduation, we would like to assess the program education objectives. So normally these are not going to be assessed immediately. So if you take a particular batch, so after completion of the batch, it will take nearly 4 to 5 years. After that only we are going to make the assessment of the PEOs. And then next, these are going to be indirect in form. We are going to collect the feedback from the various stakeholders and their contribution to the stakeholders that is being considered, and basically based upon that we are going to evaluate we are going to set proper assessment tools for it, and with the help of that assessment tools we are going to evaluate the program educational objectives. Then next, the program specific objectives. So normally earlier we don't have this program specific objectives. The reason is why they are being incorporated here is, so soon the students are get graduated, so what they are able to do. So that's the basic idea of it. So PEOs are not going to give you the capability of the student immediately. The PEOs are going to be assessed only after 4 to 5 years after the graduation of a student of a particular batch. So in that case here, it is not so, we cannot wait for that much of time. So we want to see to what extent the student is able to deliver the best based upon what the student is being taught in the 4 years of graduation. So from that particular perspective, the program specific objectives are going to help in this regard. These are the statements which the graduates of a specific engineering program should be able to do. So they can showcase the talent, what the skill set, and they're going to showcase the proficiency levels in the skill set. So that makes to have the better addressing the students here through the program specific objectives. Then next here, the program outcomes we call. So the program outcomes, normally here a big debate normally happens. So earlier we used to have, the ABET has given us the graduate attributes. So the graduate attributes are normally we call them to A to L, but here the NBA has defined for the Indian institutions, they are considering the same, the graduate attributes in line with the graduate attributes. The NBA has given the program outcomes, and these program outcomes are the statements which are nothing but the attributes what the graduate has to showcase once they are being graduated. So the first one is focusing on the engineering knowledge. Should have the proper knowledge, the basic knowledge of the engineering. So focusing on the mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and engineering specialization, and to finding solution complex engineering problems. And once the knowledge is being acquired, they should be in a position to analyze the problems, to identify, to formulate, to review the research literature, and to analyze the complex engineering problems. And they should be in a position to give a comprehensive solutions for the what they have been identified. And they should be in a position to apply certain principles what they have learned, not only confined only to the what they have learned. They should be in a position to use the mathematics, sciences. They should be in a position to use. And then next, they should be in a position to develop the third one, the design and development of the solutions. So design a solution of complex engineering problems, the design system components, or the process if they want, based upon the requirement and the specified needs, and the appropriate consideration of public health and the safety, and the cultural, societal, environment conditions are the prime concern. So the next one is the conduct investigations of the complex problems. So they should be in a position to conduct without, normally they should be in a position to evaluate the situation, and they have to conduct investigations to the complex problems. And they should be in a position to conduct the experiments, also design and conduct the experiments, and they will get the results. They should be in a position to interpret the data, because the data, once the data is generated, the interpretation is equally important. And they should synthesize the information and to give the valid conclusions where the global arena will accept it. And to work, they should be in a position to use model tool usage. It is also just a graduate attribute. So they should be in a position to use the various tools that are available for them in their engineering front, and they have to use them for finding the solutions in a better way. And They should be in a position. The engineer and the society is the sixth one. So apply reasoning informed by the contextual knowledge of the cultural issues, and that's a basic basic thing. What tenet what the engineer has to gain with respect to the society concern, and the consequent responsibilities relevant to the professional engineering practice. They have to consider all. The next one comes the environment and the sustainability. So where the impact of professional engineering solutions, the societal environment perspective should be demonstrated, and the knowledge has to be acquired. Accordingly, they have to showcase the scale. And the next one, they have to follow the ethical principles and commit to the professional ethics at any cost. And they have to take the responsibilities, and they have to follow the norms of the engineering practice as practicing engineers. The ninth one, the individual and the teamwork. They have to work as individual and the teamwork, function effectively as an individual, as a member also, or if required as a leader to the diverse teams. So in multidisciplinary settings, it's a very must. Today we are talking about the multidisciplinary settings. So most of the works that you're working are the multidisciplinary environments only. So working as a team member, as a team leader, it's a great privilege for any engineer, but they have to showcase to the best. And to make them to stand into that particular level, the communication is very important. So they have to communicate effectively on the engineering activities, what they're doing to the society and to everywhere, what they are being, wherever they are being involved. And the next one, the project management and the finance, the demonstrate the knowledge, understand the problems, and they have to give, they should have the proper understanding of engineering principles and the management principles, and they should make the models, and they should make the designs to the requirement, and see that the project management is better being implemented. If required, the persons may be working as a member or as a leader, and they should be in a position to manage the projects in multidisciplinary environments. So that means here the earlier metric, that means the earlier PO, that is individual and the teamwork, is working along with the project management. That means 9, 10, 11 are going to play a very vital role for any engineer. And just learning the things is not sufficient. They have to continuously committed themselves. The graduate has to be committed themselves to learn the things for lifelong, and they should be in a position to accept the technological changes. Nowadays, the technology is changing very fast. According to the technological needs and the societal needs, the learning is a very must for any engineer. They should be in a position to equip with the latest trends that have been happening based upon the necessities of the society and necessities of the engineering world. So these are the program outcomes normally we take. So these program outcomes we are going to define, we can define on our own with the help of the graduate attribute. We can directly adopt what the NBA has given us. So we can take up the same set of the program outcomes, or we can redefine them to your needs of the institute based upon by taking appropriate approval in the authority. The next one that comes is the course outcomes. So this is the major work that every teacher is going to be committed with. So normally it is also called as the learning outcomes. Curriculum design, we are going to have a syllabus, and once we have a syllabus, we will have some prerequisites, we have certain credits, we have the books, references, and if necessary, we are going to provide question banks, and we want to make the course to be given with the proper teaching mechanism and different delivery methods we are going to use, and sometimes we may use some ICT. Nowadays, we are talking about the MOOCs. So through MOOCs also, we are going to make the students to learn the courses here. So from this the wide spectrum, we want to see that a proper course outcome has to be designed, and the course outcomes has to be evaluated, and see that the course outcomes are being attained. So here the assessment driven learning outcomes are must. So the assessment drives. So how the assessment is going to be driven is based upon the teaching and the learning. So assessment is what the students focus on. So the COs are the central to the OBE. So without the participation of the COs, we cannot talk about the POs, and we cannot talk about the PSOs or the PEOs. So the curriculum is the one. With the help of the COs for that particular curriculum, we are going to make the OBE to be implemented. So if you go with the different levels of outcomes here, we have at the bottom level, we have the course outcomes, and the course outcomes are the statements that describe the students what the student should be able to do at the end of the course. So what they have to learn, so that once the course has been completed, they should be in a position to take up the next course, or they should be in a position to showcase their talent in the process, showcase their skill set in the solving various problems. So like this here, the courses are being designed. So the courses are going to help you in having the course outcomes to be designed, and based upon the prerequisites that we have, we are going to prepare a prerequisite chart, and based upon the prerequisite chart, we are going to define the course outcomes, so that every outcome is properly been evaluated for a student, and we see that the in entire batch the students are being attained. All the COs are being attained. Once the COs are being properly contributed, the POs will be attained. We can look for the PSOs, and after a due course of time, we can have the evaluation of POs can also be done. So the program outcomes, when you talk about, we are going to say the POs are simply called as POs. These are the statements that describes what the students are graduating from engineering programs and what they are able to do. So we have certain graduate attributes, and these are the things what the student be able to show. And then next, the program specific objectives, and these are the objects of the end of the program, what they are able to do. And then next, the program education objectives. These are the broad statements that describe the career and the professional accomplishments after 4 to 5 years, as I mentioned, after the graduation, and the program preparedness. That means how the program is being designed, how the graduates are able to deliver the best in the professional front, and that means from the various stakeholders we are going to collect, and that information will check to what extent our program has been helpful the students in sustaining their engineering career. So like this here, the level of outcomes are being defined, and so today I think this is the total framework that we have here. So I will show you in a very model. Normally, when you talk about the OBE model, so already I have shown you how the process will go on. First, the management has vision mission is being created, and from that vision we'll have a mission statements we are going to define. So the management is responsible for that. Then next, along with the management, the faculty is also the equally important for working with here, and the faculty also contribute to the mission statements. And then next, the academia is also responsible for contributing, the stakeholders, the industry. So that means all the viable possibilities that we need to see, the students and the parents. Then next, the employers, the standing, whatever the statutory bodies that are been available on the recreation, NBA, Rabbit, or if you talk about NAC also we can include. So to a certain extent, as we are focusing on NBA, so we mentioned only NBA or the Abbott from US. And the next, alumni. So we cannot neglect alumni because they are going to be our contributors for the growth of. Then next, these are being all considered to be the stakeholders here. So these all are contributing to the mission statements. Without their contribution, it is not so easy for us to have the mission statements to be defined with, and these mission statements will in turn help us in making the vision to be realized. Now, with the help of the mission statements, now to the any program. So vision is being for the institution is defined, as well as the department is also defined. Now, what are the program educational objectives? So we are providing a program, we are offering a program. So BTech civil engineering or BTech aeronautical engineering or BTech chemical engineering, whatever you are providing. So once the students are being graduated, how they are going to stand in the professional front. So normally we are going to define, so with certain skill set, so 3 levels of skill sets we are going to define, and we are going to call these objectives, these things POs as PO 1, 2, 3. Sometimes we are going to have 4 and 5 also, but the majority of the people will suggest the constraint to only 3 or 4. So we can have more means the more complexity will in competition process. Now here from the stakeholders, so who are going to be responsible here for defining the POs, or the stakeholders are going to help us in defining, because everybody has the perspective of looking at the program. So considering their perspectives, we are going to design our program education objectives for the program that we are offering. Now with this POs, now we are going to take the POs. So if you want to define your POs, you can define your POs directly from the graduate attributes. It is difficult for us. So because in a certain scenarios, it's not so easy to define. So the thing is, most of the cases, what the institutions will do is whatever the NBA has been given. So those NBA defined POs are being used directly here. So we'll call them as A, B, C, D, like that. So all, where L is a different one. So because it's a long, so that is possible only after a certain time. That's the reason why it is given a different color. Now, once the POs is being defined, now we start delivering the content to the students. Now we have the theory, we have the practical sessions, the tutorials, we have the seminars, guest lectures, the role plays. So based upon the curriculum, we are going to have the different. When it comes to the JNT affiliated institutions, mostly we'll have the theory, practical, tutorial, seminars, projects like that, and the guest lectures and workshops which are conducted as a separate entity. Now here, the students are going to take this and we are going to use for making the content delivery, we are going to rely on the Bloom's taxonomy. So it's another one which is going to contribute a lot for us. Now here, we have the syllabus that is already available with the curriculum, and the content beyond the curriculum is going to provide. The affiliating university will provide the curriculum, or the autonomous institution will create its own curriculum, taking approval from the statutory bodies, and the industry will focus on what exactly it is required. So that is considered, that has been imported through value-added courses or like that, and we call that one as a content beyond the syllabus. And then next, this will also be imparted to the content delivery, the content beyond the syllabus. And then next, one considered, it is the time for us to do the assessment, and we are going to conduct test, or we are going to have the project evaluation, or we'll have the assignments, the quizzes. So examinations, semester and examinations like that. And this will also be done from the help with taking the help of the Bloom's taxonomy. As we imported the things based upon the Bloom's taxonomy, the focus of Bloom's taxonomy also exists in the assessment process also. So here, and this, after the assessment of this will be contributing to the POs, whatever we have been evaluated, the COs, with the help of the COs, will be contributing to the POs, and we are going to check the attainment of the POs. So the test will, and we are going to form a rubrics for this, and with the help of the rubrics, we are going to do the mechanism. And the next, academia is going to help you in conducting the formal assessment, and the POs will also been properly evaluated. The rubrics also be considered here, and the faculty contributes to the rubrics because the starts from the bottom level, the course outcomes. And if required, bottom to the course outcomes, we can have another outcome, we call it as the topic level outcomes. But normally we are not considering topic level outcomes also be considered. The academia will be contributing, the industry will contribute, the students are contributing to the rubric, the parents in the form of the feedbacks, they'll be contributing, employers, they're also contributing in the form of feedbacks, and the sustaining policies, whatever we have from the ABET, that also be considered the alumni. So all are contributing to the rubrics, and these rubrics will help you in attainment process, in doing the attainment process, and later on the cycle goes on. So if the attainment process is good, okay, fine, we will redefine the new, we are going to define the new benchmarks. And if the attainment is not good due to the various reasons, or moderately good or completely good, like this, you are going to evaluate. And from this, we are going to check how to what extent we can start the refinement process. And we have the appropriate committees we are going to establish, and these committees will take care of it, which we'll see in the subsequent sessions. And today I will end the session for today. And if you have any queries from your end, we can. So, ma'am, from my end, so this is the OBE model, focusing on the complete the framework of it today, and the subsequent days definitely we'll see how each and every statement is being defined. So, thank you all for providing a great opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful session. And I request our academic advisor, Mr. Venkata Ramesh Ponnana, who is the backbone of our institution in the process of accreditation, to conclude the today's session. So please go on.
Good evening, all. and a very good evening to my dear friend, Mr. Pawan. Today, I really
Good
felt very happy for the participating in this wonderful session. As today's session, we learned the fundamentals, framework, components in the outcome-based education. And Mr. Pawan explained very well, and I hope all the faculty understood this properly. If you have any suggestions or doubts for today's session, we already shared the feedback form in the comment box. I'm requesting all the participants to fill without fail. Once again, I'm thanking Mr. Pawan for the participating my request in sharing his knowledge in outcome-based education. Let us meet tomorrow by sharp 5:45 a.m. for the tomorrow's session. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to Ramesh Garu and everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Please fill the form, Google form, which I shared in the chat box.